AC Lockyer, and this is Building a Lifestyle Business, where we get to find out a little bit about the SoftWash Systems license affiliates out there and how they're building their lifestyle businesses. And this week, I've got Scott Staley on here, Staley SoftWash. And I just want to welcome you to the podcast, Scott.
Hey, I appreciate being here, AC. Thank you.
Yeah. And so, I like to start this out, because this is not supposed to be a gigantic SoftWash Systems infomercial, okay? And I really want people to know who Scott is, don't give me, well, I own a soft washing company and I do business, blah, blah, blah. Who are you? What do you do? What are your hobbies? Tell us about your family. Tell us about who you are.
Well, I'm from Dayton, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a third generation service business owner.
There
My
you go,
father was
like
in
me.
the business,
Yeah.
and my grandfather was in the business. So
Wow.
I can trace my history back to 1860, where my grandmother, her name was Catherine O'Neill Staley, and she would bring the local farmers in, as I've been told in stories,
Mm-hmm.
where she would set up a place in Dayton where we own property and such, and she would sell produce. So she would bring in these farmers and they would sell their produce. So it was a way of early days in Dayton, Ohio. So
Right.
growing up young, I grew up, my dad had a delicatessen in Dayton. My uncle owned they had a business in downtown Dayton. And it was all good until I was probably about 10 or 11, when my father divorced my mother. And between my dad and my uncle, they kind of just drained all of my grandmother and grandfather's wealth.
Mm.
And, it's just one of those things. So I learned and looked back on that, and so as I grew up, my mom was married 4 times. So I had like 3 stepfathers.
Wow.
And there was one of them that had a huge impact on who I am today, because he gave me work ethics at age 13. And so it really instilled me at that age to be more of a, life's not a bed of roses, Scott. If you want something, you have to go out and get it. And so that instilled me and gave me some, because I really didn't have a good education. I was a CD student, was in probably 10 different schools until I landed in Atlanta, Georgia. And at that point, my mom married, and then we moved up to Ohio. So at a young age in Ohio, I started a lawn care business trying to cut grass around this same area where I'm at right now. Been here 40 years. And that worked out a little bit, but then I got a factory job, worked 25 years for a large Japanese motor company here in Ohio. They build Hondas. So they Japanese kind of gave me that, I don't know, it was more or less meeting expectations. They gave me a lot of different things, but I resigned because I wasn't old enough to retire. And so I just, at that point, I just felt the desire to become an entrepreneur and step out on my own, because I was power washing from 91 and I was hired in 83 at Honda. So I kind of did both of those running together to the point where the stress and everything else just didn't work out. So I wish I would have looked back on that and said, maybe if you'd have stepped out of the factory and followed your entrepreneurship, you'd have been probably maybe a little more focused.
Sure, a little further ahead. It's the woulda, shoulda, couldas of life,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. So you start like a lot of people. You had a job and you worked for a factory that built Honda motor cars. And I didn't realize you were a 3rd generation service business or business entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool. That's something that we share together.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, you did finally get to the point where you're like, I don't want to do the side hustle anymore. I need to transition into something. So tell me about that transition. Tell me about that. It's tough for people. A lot of people want to break away from having a job, but they don't quite know how to do it. So share your story of transition there.
The transition was pretty hard because my wife of 30 years, of course, we had the full benefits, the health benefits, everything that came along with that.
Right.
And every time I would mention it, she goes, "Oh, you just close the company, stay in the factory." And so that was the hard part. But I'm sitting there one day at the factory And it was so, I think it was a blessing, because the maintenance guy rolls up and goes, "Hey, Staley, don't you do those hood exhaust systems around the area?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, Honda just fired a company that does everyone. Go down to the contractor and be hired as a sub."
Right.
So and when I think that would have been 2005, I resigned from Honda, became a subcontractor. I was working 52 Saturdays a year. So the transition wasn't that hard, because it was tempting to walk out of the factory knowing that you had a contractor who did a lot of work for the factory,
Right.
which gave you a little more confidence. But still, it was scary to walk out of a job I had done for 25 years. My seniority got me in a good position where I didn't really have to do a whole lot of physical work. So, every day at 3 o'clock, I come running out of there, get my power wash truck, and take off.
So you did make that big step, and it did make it a little bit easier knowing that you had a contract. Do you still have that contract today?
No, because after 13 years, the contractor had a budget cut, and they came to me and asked me to, they more or less found somebody within their company to take and do what I did. So,
Sure.
As one door opens, another one shuts. So that one was a door of 13 years, and it was a good, part of my business, entrepreneurship, my career with that. So, but the best part of that was when that was over, I was looking for something else. And so the door opened, and I'm sitting there looking at a video of you on a roof. And something about that was like, I have to go to Sanford, Florida. So,
after Sanford, Florida.
I thought, where in the heck is Sanford?
Where in the heck is Sanford, Florida? Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of people find us that way. They find us on the internet through a YouTube video and of me up cleaning a roof or explaining how to clean roofs.
Yeah.
And I did that for many, many years myself. And, for me, it was getting kicked out of college, coming back to Florida here and wanting to get married and wanting to start a job. And, I started a roof cleaning business because my dad said, "Hey, the family painter just jumped up on the roof and pressure washed it off and made it look like new. And wow, that seems like that would be a good business to start." And, we all do this because at the end of the day, we'd really like to work for ourselves. We don't want to work for somebody else. We want freedom.
Yeah.
We want to be able to take off when we want to. We want to be able to work the hours that we want to. We want to feel like that whatever we put into it, we've got skin in the game. We got some ownership.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And so you end up veering from the course that normal people might take. And I say normal people, I say most people. It's not like normal people.
Uh-huh.
Normal is a setting on your washing machine. I mean,
Right.
most people have jobs. Fewer people own their own businesses, and fewer even than that have businesses that have, more than 10 employees. And
Right.
so, we all take this entrepreneurial journey. And you mentioned finding the video of us. You were already pressure washing. You were already doing well. You already had this contract. There was a little shift in how your work was flowing to you. It got you looking. You came down to Sanford, Florida. And so what did you find? What appealed to you about taking your entrepreneurial spirit and coming in and joining it together with something like SoftWash Systems?
Well, first of all, my wife was not for it. My mother, my sisters, everybody says, "No, Scott, it's just one of those little things you're always looking at. You've been in business so long, and no, you're going to waste your time again." And I don't know, something about, I got a lot of negativity as I got on the plane to come down there.
Right.
And, that kind of tended to lean on you a little bit, but, you felt in your gut, let's just give this a try, just see what's going on down, and so as I got off the plane.
It's only a 3-day camp, you just
kicking
the tires,
what's 3 days? 3 days to me was nothing, I thought, I could do that, it's nothing. So I took that, and after the second day, I knew something was different down here. It was, you could just feel it. There was people down there that, there were not, they were young people getting into this. And here I am, the person that's kind of an old guy in the background looking at it saying, kind of analyzing it going, yeah, this could be very, very, in a good way, something for me. So that's what I took off, you know, when I first got there. It was very, very good for me.
And so how long ago was that now that you came down to discover SoftWash?
That was 2018.
2018. Wow. Yeah. So yeah, we're 6 years ago now.
Have you been looking for an investor-grade home service business opportunity? SoftWash Systems is what you've been looking for. Come to Discover SoftWash and discover your potential. Learn how we provide you with the equipment, chemicals, education, and support for your soft washing business. For more information about becoming a licensed affiliate, call our Shield support agents at 855-763-8669 or visit our website, www.softwashsystems.com/discover. Join the revolution. Join SoftWash Systems.
And so, yeah, so you come down here and you notice that something was different. What was the different that you would say?
The culture. You could tell immediately the culture was very family oriented. There was people there who really cared about what your interests were. It was very detailed, laid out, very well planned and organized, how it was presented. I think, I've seen over the course of many years a lot of presentations, and I think this one was one that was very well received by me. I thought it was very, and for everybody there, you could tell the people that were there, it was very good. It was very good. And so that's what was, the best part about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Cool. And so, now you've been with us a while and you jump into doing soft washing. You get your truck, you get your system, you do your education and all. How has this thing been going for you? Tell us a little bit about your journey now that you've become a licensed affiliate with SoftWash Systems. How has your journey been?
Well, when you have customers like I've had over the years, the same customers that call you to have the same things done, you tend to take those same customers out and you say, here's what we have. We have the new van, we have the new system, and you explain it to them, and they start to understand this is a better way, because when I look back on that, I think when I was pressure washing houses, you don't know what you don't know. And the little weep holes in the vinyl, you push water behind there. And once you get water behind there, there's just all kinds of problems that can occur that you don't know about.
Yeah. Well, especially, and I mean, not to get highly technical on this, it's about building a lifestyle business. But for those of you that don't know about vinyl siding, when it laps over, it does have a weep hole in there for moisture that gets trapped behind it to bleed out or come out of these weep holes. And people don't realize that vinyl siding gets dirty on the backside. So if you pressure wash it, you get too much water on the backside. You get this endless cycle of more water, more dirt, more water, more dirt, and it's dripping. And even when you're done, it keeps dripping, and you got to go back and wipe it with a cloth. And it's a headache. So yeah, and you have a lot of vinyl siding up there in Ohio.
Oh yeah, and only on the north side, and they wonder why it's just the north side. But actually, the whole house looks dirty. And once you clean, you start actually on the house. They don't think it's clean, and by the time you come down to the north, they're like, "Wow, it really changes it." So, but yeah, people accept the price difference. I've had to take my tickets. Sometimes I get a little bit hesitant about handing somebody a large ticket, but a lot of people, after you give them, when you show up and you differentiate yourself from the average guy running around Ohio here, and when you can be branded, you have the equipment, everything looks good, it sells. It's a seller in itself. So I just landed an $8,900 job just because I think it's just because my experience, my knowledge, and what I bring to the table to the job site.
Now, that's a big job for the residential exterior cleaning industry, $8,900.
Yeah.
And so where do you think your SoftWash Systems training has helped with you landing those kinds of jobs? Tell us about what SoftWash Systems offers you. And again, we don't want to make this a SoftWash Systems infomercial, but the bottom line here is you sold an $8,900 job that you probably wouldn't have sold before. And this is helping you build a business that supports your lifestyle. So talk about that process a little bit there. How did you get equipped to be able to sell those types of jobs?
I think it's diversity. I think having the ability to, you walk into a job and you have the ability to go organic or non-organic. Whatever, what are you cleaning here? What are you trying to achieve? And what happens when you get into the process of the job, efficiency kicks in. And now the job may have taken you 3 or 4 hours. Now it's taking you 2 hours because you have the ability to use the equipment. And it's a 6X system right now that I feel that system is awesome. I mean, it really changes job sites. And when you can come in and get out, I got in and out of a job here a while back on a roof job. Now I had to use the lift, and I had my harness, had my, I was up there, I had my everything going on. And we was there an hour and a half, and the guy sat there and he watched me every single minute.
Yes.
And he was so happy. And it was a great feeling to know someone sit there and watch you this is a home, probably 1.2 million here. And it was his second home. And so I hope to try to find out where his first home is. So, that's
yeah. This is your second home. Well, how many homes do you have? And what are the addresses?
Yeah, I mean,
and when would you like to have them done?
But he was surprised when he said, "I never seen those little nuggets on my roof." I said, "Well,
the little nuggets,
the aggregate."
Yeah.
And I said, he goes, "And they turned all brown."
Yep.
Yeah, they're all dead.
Yeah. That's unreal. So yeah, you're doing big jobs like $8,900 jobs. When you jump on board with something like SoftWash Systems, it helps to augment your entrepreneurial experience and helps to help you achieve your life's goals and dreams. You start to be able to put together revenue, and you're 6 years in now. How are you revenuing? How is this business growing? How is it doing? 6 years in now, where were you 6 years ago, and where are you at now on your revenues?
Well, I think right now my revenues aren't as high as I think they could have been, but again, I think it's my own failure to implement some things. And I'm an old guy, I'm 61, and I just feel that I've kind of, in a way, SoftWash Systems has given me so many good tools for my toolbox. I think in some ways I haven't really utilized them as best as I maybe should have.
Sure.
And I just think it's, you've given so many people, I've seen so many people do so well. And I wonder why, and I think it's just, I just failed to implement some things. And I think right now, my house is almost paid for. I have a commercial building almost paid for. I have a lot of assets, and I think I'm very proud of that, to have these assets where, I think coming up, my lifestyle, I have a plan for it. It's going to be, still want to keep and continue what I'm doing, but spend more time with the wife, just travel. We were in Ocean City, Maryland, walking the boardwalk last week. And that to me was just riding a bike up and down the boardwalk. That's right. I couldn't have done that before. Before SoftWash, I couldn't have done things like this. It's given me a lifestyle that's more relaxing, more stress-free, and more. It has an all-around aura to it. Every year, my wife goes, "You're going down to Florida, to Orlando, to that yearly thing you go to." I said, "Oh yeah, that to me is self-development. That's something that I have to continue to have to bring me to the person I am." I mean, my life right now, I couldn't be more content, and I think it has a lot to do with what I've been given in the past 7 years from the SoftWash family, in all regards. So I'm just very, very grateful at the point right now.
Well, I think you used the word content. When your house is almost paid off and your commercial facility is almost paid off and you're laying in $8,900 jobs, I know you sent a couple girls down to get them trained to work on the truck. Yep. I don't know if they worked out or they didn't work out, if they're still with you, but do you have a crew running the truck for you right now?
They're very close. They're very close to, I've taken them out and they're very close. One was my niece. Yeah. So, but yeah, I have sent them out on some jobs recently, and they're doing very well. Good. I think it has a lot to do with what they learned when they were down there in November. And, but yeah, I'm just trying to get them, one was 2021. I'm having I'm just trying to really be easy, because I don't want to, they're just very, very good young ladies, and I have to be kind of tiptoey with what I want to put them on payroll. And they're like, well, and I'm like, all these little things I'm trying to just nudge into it right now. So that's just, a little bit of a challenge right now for me. I want to get them fully invested.
You're in a good spot. You're in a good spot. So you've got some team members that can take over the truck, and they've been running under your careful supervision. And helping you do the jobs. And you've probably been on site with a lot of those, but you're going to be able to get off site here before too long. And you're primarily doing all the sales in the company, correct?
Correct. Yes, I have bids today and yesterday, and it goes real well because I sometimes they have followed along with me, both of them, and they're seeing and they're learning, how I come about and how I sell it. And but yeah, I had them. They were on a commercial job actually, and so I was just telling you, just watch what I do, and they were just so on top of everything. It was very, very well, and even the people there at the company said, "Boy, those two are really go-getters." And I said, "Yeah, they are." And it's just they love to come to work, and I'm like, I'm not used to having somebody love to come to work, so it's very good for me right now.
So yeah, I mean, it is very good for you, and I think that's part of the reason why you haven't been all on fire to push it as hard as some people do. I mean, you mentioned you're 61 years old. You're not a guy in his 30s with kids trying to get a retirement going. I mean, you've got your house is almost paid for, your commercial building's almost paid for. You got a business that's going here. You've probably got some money in retirement, so you're fairly well set, and you're starting to look towards. What more do you have to do? Do you have to put a second truck on the road? Do you have to put a third truck on the road? How much more do you want to grow the business? I'm sure you'd like to at least get the business in a nice little commercial facility with a couple trucks with some people out there running doing the business, and you just sell. And you could probably do that up until you're probably 70, but along the way, you want to take some time off and travel with your wife and because I mean, it's morbid to say, but we get into our 60s and you're one doctor's visit away from a diagnosis or something happening to your spouse. And so you start to, I mean, I'm feeling this in my 50s. You're starting to go every week that slips by, you're like, man, that's a week I could have done something special with my wife or gone and seen something and stuff like that. So, for you, you're at that point in your life where if you could just kind of get this thing running itself, and then you could, like I travel 20 weeks out of the year. And, a lot of it's business travel, but it puts us in some pretty cool places. I take my wife with me and we get to see the world. You're kind of ready for that. You're ready to do that kind of stuff. And so, you don't have visions of having 3 branches with 6 to 9 trucks on the road and stuff like that, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, again, I have 2 sons who, I don't know if they'll ever step back into it, but, I would think at some point, my niece and the 2 girls if I can get them really rolling full time next year, and then find another truck, and then ask, then if you could find 2 more like them,
right?
I could be running, the 2 trucks out of the same facility, and if it's close to paying off, and I can now, have both those trucks in the same building, it would be, it'd be very, very good at that point. Because at that point I'd be 65. And like I said, I could really see where that would maybe, if the boys would kick in, that would really take it to the point where
to the next level.
And to that point, I'd just be happy to see.
So it could be a legacy business at that point,
legacy,
where
exactly.
Where you roll out of it and one day retire, but pass it on to your sons. Yeah,
I just think they didn't get along with Dad. And
well,
Dad
that can happen. Everybody has daddy issues. So how old are your boys?
I got a 21-year-old and a 27-year-old, and they both work for
they're
FedEx.
so young. Yeah.
They both work for FedEx in Columbus, Ohio.
Well, good. Maybe they'll learn a lot of good operational stuff and business stuff from FedEx and be able to one day bring it into the business.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Yes, that would be awesome.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. So when you bring this all together, and we've talked about a lot of things, define to me or describe to me what a lifestyle business means. What would you say is a lifestyle business?
I think it comes to one word: freedom. Having the freedom not to have to schedule something, just take off in like the spur of the moment. To me, it's the wife and I, if I can say, hey, we're going to be driving over to Maryland to spend, that to me is is a lifestyle you just can't. It's just you just pick up and go, and it was just, that's kind of like we did here last week. We're supposed to leave on Monday. She goes, let's leave on Sunday. I said, sure. So, you take off when you want.
No,
and I think that's a lot about being, having that freedom where most people don't have that ability just to jump up and go somewhere at a fling.
For sure. Well, but this has been a very, very good conversation. I didn't know about your boys, and so you're going to have to really, put together a plan for that, because they could honestly stay at FedEx. I mean, FedEx has got a lot of opportunities, and people could live a full career there. So you're going to have to kind of plan your A plan for your business and your B plan for your business, and see where that goes. I'd be very, very excited to see how you get another truck on the road, and you've got your facility and get to 5-star in our organization.
Yes, that would be ultimately.
Yeah. But having your niece and the other girl, what's their two names? I forget.
Kaylee is my niece, and then Izzy is her friend. And
Izzy, yes, that's right.
They seem to get along real well, which sometimes they get along real well. And
yeah,
I mean, one of them's out there pulling the hose, and the other one's, it's just a really good. I think they have a very good. I haven't done a disc assessment on them, but I'm sure I'm sure they're very well, able to work. I've seen them work together, and they seem to do very well.
Well, I think, with them out there and you just selling, it's going to really free up a lot of time for you to start pursuing some other things, or have the bandwidth to start to grow the business, sell some more work, get that second truck on the road, and really do that for you. And so what are some other places? You've mentioned Maryland twice now. What are some other places that you'd like to go?
Well, I mean, I've never been, out west. I've never seen the West. So her and I have talked about it. We've seen, she's really into state parks or national.
Right. Yeah.
So, and hiking. So we've done most of Ohio. She's seeked out these places.
Right.
I'm not a big hiker, but, I have to follow her. So, it's just one of those things. And you have to enjoy her all of
your life, right?
I tend to enjoy it. And, sometimes I have to sit and rest for a second, but she'll walk for. Wow. But I think that's kind of the things that I'm looking forward to, maybe going out to the Grand Canyon, seeing, parts of America that, most people don't see in a lifetime.
That's right. We have a lot of stuff just here in the United States to see. That is for sure. Yeah. That's incredible. So what would be some parting words if you were talking to somebody and they were thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, possibly doing something with SoftWash systems, but if you had the ability to speak into somebody's life that may be listening to this podcast right now, and they're thinking about making that jump to become an entrepreneur, what would you tell them?
Just trusting yourself. It's all about trusting yourself, trusting your gut, and taking that feeling, and all the people that have the negativities, you have to block that out, because there's going to be a lot of people say, "Oh, you can't do that. You won't." And you have to feel that at some point when you're trying to achieve this, that, it's going to be a struggle no matter what, and people are going to be behind you, and are going to be for you. And those are the people, and ultimately surround yourself with successful people.
Right.
And if you can do that with people who are doing maybe just not what that is, but once you get started into this, you'll find out a networking of people. I've met people just because of this shirt. Oh, wow, look at that. I mean, it's incredible how you can meet new people, but you have to be, talkative. You can't, you have to be a little bit of a talker sometimes. So that's helpful.
You definitely have to have an outgoing personality. That's for sure. If you're going to do sales, for sure.
Yeah, it's just something you have to.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, this has been a great conversation. It's kind of interesting when somebody's like you. I think that when you said that I think the word you used was that you were comfortable, or that you were content. That word contentment. I think that's a key word we need to use when we talk about building that lifestyle business. Is in American society here, people are somewhat discontent. They're not satisfied with where they're at. There's this consumerism type of mentality, and The mentality of people nowadays is you got to keep climbing the mountain and climbing the corporate ladder, and you got to achieve all this stuff. And you have learned to be content, but only because you put yourself in a place where you have the luxury of being content because you made some bold moves.
And it's, I think being involved in the community, I'm currently on 2 school boards. I was in a school board meeting last night. I'm on a school board meeting tonight. So you have to be embraced in your community too. And that's a good part of I get like a outlet from that. My wife goes, how do you go to all these meetings? Well, it's just being part of the community. It's just, good and faithful servant. I believe in that so much. Job well done.
Yeah. Yeah. Matthew 25. Well, very good. Very good. Well, Scott, I appreciate you so much being on the podcast. This has been a great conversation. And just remember, guys, especially if you're out there in Ohio, anybody listening to this here, and it's specifically Columbus, right?
Well, we're north. We're up north. We're, closer to the out in the Lima, above this, in a certain kind of an area.
Yeah. So if you guys are out there, if you know anybody that needs their home soft wash, certainly give Scott a call at Staley SoftWash. And Scott, man, it's been so great having this conversation with you. And I just appreciate you. You've been a huge supporter over the years and have been very, very encouraging to me. And I appreciate, you always being there and just being a smile in the crowd for me. It's been awesome.
I appreciate everything you've done for me. You have done a lot for me. I mean, I look back and I think back on some of the things I've been doing here lately, and it's attributing to the classes and everything I've learned and listened. All the learning upon is just it's powerful. I mean, if someone wanting to get into this, it's just not the equipment, it's just not the soap that's awesome. There's education there that'll get you where you want to go. So be confident that it's just not one thing; it's a whole big package that will bring you to a different level.
Yeah. All right, guys, I can't say it better than that. So, hey, this is AC Lockyer and Scott Staley here, and this was Building a Lifestyle Business. Hey, remember, if you liked this, go ahead and subscribe, go ahead and like and share, spread the good news about this podcast. We'd love to let other people know about what it's like to build a lifestyle business. There's some people out there that still have a job, and we would like to free them from that job and possibly maybe do something like soft washing. But until the next podcast, this is AC Lockyer, and we'll see you later.